So, hi everyone, Beck McQuilty here from Frequency Soul Collective. I would like to welcome you today to our leadership development call. So, whether you are already in a leadership role with Solex or this is something that you're wanting to grow your leadership skills to build a team out with the company, this is a monthly call that we do. Apologies for the last couple of months. We've had Day of Discovery and lots of things happening, but we really wanted to end the year as we started it, and that's with our amazing CEO, the Chief Entertainment Officer, Kai Larsen. And so, welcome, Kai. Thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are, but we also know how much of a wealth of knowledge and how wise you are in business. So, I would love for you to share with us just anything you feel that resonates in regards to leadership, like ending the year and then coming into 2026, things that you might be able to recommend for our leaders and our up and coming leaders in our Solex businesses.
Yes. Well, thank you, Beck. And obviously, always too kind of words. I know you perjure yourself way too many times whenever you introduce me, but thank you for the kind words. More than anything, let me start by just expressing gratitude. I'm so thankful for all of you who were able to be here and chose to be here, whether it's in the evening or whether it's early in the morning for most of you. I recognize that probably not probably our most valuable currency that we have is our time. And so choosing to take time to do anything to me, especially when I'm involved with it, and I am grateful for that from you. I do believe that the time spent together is that stock and trade of relationships. Relationships are built with time spent with one another. And so there's value in that. And so thank you for jumping on this. I hope that I can share at least some perspective, maybe tease out a thought that you've been having for a while that may just change your perspective or maybe open up and shed a new light on something you haven't considered before that might not just continue the fire that you have lit, but to maybe help grow it brighter, right? In that process. But thank you for that. And so to jump in, I've had a few thoughts after Beck invited me to come and share with you, and so I hope I can get through these relatively efficiently and in a way that makes sense to you. Let me start by just sharing a quick story. Several years ago, this is probably now about 10 years ago. Um, yeah, yeah, about 10 years ago, 10 years ago. I was working with a group, a group of leaders. I'd been working, we had improved compensation plan at this particular offering, which actually was a seed for our current compensation plan. And one of the things that was really important for me, boy, you can't take an angle of the compensation plan and it's not important to me because it's something that I've been working on for nearly well over 2 decades as we refine what is the right thing to do to make the real true offering of direct sales valuable to any person that decides to jump in and be independent and have an entrepreneurial spirit and to drive forward with that. Um, but this in particular was this concept that you could start a business in any walk of life and be successful at it and actually have dramatic change in your life with something as simple as a minimal investment, and I'll call it it was a $49 investment. Okay. And you really think about that. I was trying to teach this group of leaders how unique that is. Have you ever tried to start your own business? Have you ever tried outside of direct sales? Have you ever tried to start a brick and mortar or an online business or anything else where you're truly the show? You're it, end to end. It's you, whatever you can drum up with as far as creativity and products, and you're trying to find customers to sell to, right? You know that it's not just the idea of wanting to make it happen that makes it happen. you know that there was real grit, there's real sweat, there's real blood at times, and tears. And even then, there is absolutely no guarantee of success. And that is what probably keeps a lot of people from even trying. They may have a million good ideas and they can't even take the first step because it is overwhelmingly difficult to try and say, boy, I can't even get the ball rolling. I don't have a website. I'm not creative. I can't design, an image for a logo. What product am I going to sell? What products could I come up with? How much does it cost to create a product? How much does it cost to have somebody manufacture that product for me? You think about these. Oh, wait, what about customer service? How much time does it take to service my potential customers? How much does that cost? And you start to think about all of these things, let alone, let's not talk about leasing up a space and the commitment there of how much that bill's coming every month, regardless of whether you sold anything or not, right? And you unwind that and you say, boy, not only is it a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of all the things, but it's also an awful lot of money and resource. So direct sales to me has always been that leveling playing field, where a true partnership between a company that has products to offer and a true group of independent entrepreneurs that want to share those products with other people. And the mutual benefit is that by sharing products that we have and want to share with the whole world, we all can win, right? Well, okay, so I finally get to the story I want to tell you. Boy, Beck, I hope you got a long time on this call because we'll get rolling. Okay, I'll speed up.
Always.
I'm talking to this couple, these two, this couple that are working together and they're trying to build their business and they want to get it going and they're the leaders in this company and they're doing fairly well. But we talk about this, boy, where in the world could you start a business and what is the barrier to enter the efforts of entrepreneurship? What's the minimal level in which somebody can enter growing and building a business? And it's $49. And legitimately, with $49, I can go sell a product because that gave me my website, right? And it gave me access to sell products to someone else. I don't even have to have the products in my hand. But with 49 bucks, I can go and talk and use whatever skills I have to share with people and get commission. And off of that commission, I can then try and build more and build it bigger. Well, I challenged this couple to go out and see if they could find the most simple way to help somebody build a business. And the story is, and I met this person who they talked to, and we had a relationship and a conversation over many years. They took that to heart. They were in a parking lot buying some food for dinner, and they noticed this gentleman who kind of had his car, it was a little worn down, and it was filled with stuff. And he was just hanging out by his car. And Jeff was the husband of this couple. He walks over and introduced himself. Finds out that this gentleman was living out of his car, effectively homeless, unless you count the car as his home, right? And he had just fallen on one bad decision after another. One thing didn't go his way after another, to the point where he was rather destitute. All of everything he owned was inside this car. That's where he slept at night. That's where he housed himself. And he would just, with whatever money he could get by scrounging it from others by way of donation, he would try and get from place to place and buy whatever food he could. So here is the deal. And Jeff goes to him and says, "Hey, look, I have an opportunity for you. I'll pay the $49 and I'll give you one bottle of this product. And I just want to give you a chance to do something." Well, that gentleman wanted any pathway. And like when you're really desperate, I don't know if I've ever been really desperate. I don't know if any of us have ever been truly, really desperate, that kind of desperate. The desperate where you really don't know where the next plate of food's coming from, kind of desperate, right? But we can at least, if we haven't been there, we can at least try and understand and empathize with what the situation might have been like. What would you have been willing to do to change your life if given the opportunity to do so? And so he took that. He took the bottle, he got his website, they walked him through it, and he went out on the street here in Utah, by the way, and walked up to people. He learned enough about the product that he could explain what it was and invited people to change their lives by purchasing this product and all the health benefits that it would offer them. 3 months later, he was in an apartment. He could afford enough commission to pay for his down on the apartment, and he could reinvest in his business to the point where he was independent. He wasn't living in his car anymore. And from then on, he was so inspired, he was so motivated, he was so changed that his life trajectory changed absolutely, completely. What seemed to be hopeless was now filled with hope. And the only difference was having somebody provide an opportunity for him and for him to take the reins on that opportunity and do something with it. Okay? Now, that is a very extreme, and probably you and I will hopefully never find ourselves in such a situation. But yet, aren't we? We're just not the ones sitting in the car with all of our things. We're the one with the opportunity to help somebody change the trajectory of their lives. I know of no better time of year to help somebody change the trajectory of their lives for the better than now. The reality of this is that it's really not a difficult process. The difficulty is our choosing to do something with it. Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start in order to be great, right? And that really isn't just a sign up thing, right? We all can agree that if this gentleman had the $49 paid for him by somebody else and received the one bottle of product, he could have just consumed the one bottle of product and it would have been all over, right? Done, finished. Didn't cost him anything, didn't hurt him, didn't do anything else for him. Or he could take the opportunity of what he had an abundance of at the time, which was time, and do something with it. And choose to do something with it. And not just once, not just for a week, right? And not just for a month. You know what the average lifespan of a distributor in this industry is? About 3.5 months. That seems to be just long enough for you to spend enough money and not make any to say, I'm done. Right? And typically, the difference between those that stay and those that leave or churn, right? Because they're going to leave and they're just going to go to another company. Because the hope, the idea, the promise that there is riches for doing nothing exists somewhere, which is not true. It doesn't exist anywhere, right? It really doesn't. But the difference between those that leave and those that stay are the ones who actually cover their costs. It's the biggest factor. If you can earn enough commission to cover what it costs you, you never leave. There's no reason to leave. You're effectively getting it for free. And then on top of that, you're actually getting all the runoff benefits if you want to talk business strategy. But that alone is the first level, right? But that is nowhere near where any of us want to be. When we think about how you and I have taken the opportunity of Solex, right? Are we owning that opportunity or are we just trying on that opportunity? Does it just, the idea of it feel pretty good? Or am I in both feet trudging through all of the crap that you have to deal with in order to make any business work? I have met many, many very successful business people. Not a single one of them has told me how rosy the path has been to their success. Not a single one of them. In fact, you want to know what they often talk about? The passion for the grind of what they did to get where they are. And now, how that passion is feeding the continual motivation of what is the next horizon. It's the grind, it's the enthusiasm, the passion for what it takes every day and overcoming the difficulties that is actually so much more rewarding than arriving at the top. Let me reference Elon Musk, whether you like him or not. 6 multi-billion-dollar companies this gentleman has started. 6. I would love one, right? I would love half of one. It is in his DNA, his chosen DNA. He chooses it every day to grind out whatever it will be required that day to move forward, to progress. Listen, I believe with whether it's SpaceX or Tesla or any of the other things that he's worked on, if he asked for somebody else's opinion of whether it would work or not, we all know the answer would be no. It doesn't work. You can't do it. You won't be able to. He could care less about their opinion. He was going to move forward with what he knew best to do, the best way he knew how, until it did succeed, until he did accomplish the goal. And I don't even know what the goal is because I bet there was no end to it. It's moving forward in a consistent way that was more valuable to him than the end result. So you can understand when I ask, do you see this opportunity, the Solex opportunity, as something you own or something you're trying on? How deep are your roots when the winds of resistance blow against you? Do you stop growing? Do you break, fall over? Or are your roots deep enough in who you are that you're welcoming the winds because you know that they are the only thing that make you better, make you stronger at the opportunity that's in front of you. And it's the more consistent that that wind blows, that the stronger you will become. But you have to engage. You have to get out there. You can't stay sheltered. You have to take the opportunity to expose yourself to the winds of your life's changing in order to become stronger in it. Similar to the garden that you grow, if you only watered it in the spring, it would never reap a harvest in the fall. Okay? It's something that you can't choose once and say, the day that I signed up, I'm going to be a successful QLA at Solex, and then do nothing. It's the perpetual propelling you toward the difficulty that makes you sure. One of my favorite things I've learned from Joe Rogan was he loves to challenge himself with difficult things every day. And why? Because he's a glutton for punishment? No. No, none of us like pain. None of us like difficulty. None of us welcome that, right? We want to avoid it at all costs. I mean, Tony Robbins teaches that it's either pleasure or pain, and pain is the greater thing we avoid, right? But it is actually the difficulty, the pain, the challenging ourselves to put ourselves in the situation that causes difficulty that actually make us the strongest we will ever be. Why does Joe Rogan test himself to the difficulties of um, of exposing himself to something that is hard, so that when the day comes that he does face difficulty, and it is hard, he has day after day after day and month and year after year of history of knowing that he can do hard things. So this is nothing. I can do this because I do difficult things every day. Some big difference. The person who's seeking out that challenge of being challenged versus the person who's happy to sit on their couch, shielded from the difficulties and hoping to wait out the storm of life. What is it? Bob Proctor says, how many people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death? Right? So many people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. Well, I don't know. I mean, we're all different and we all have wonderful choices. And that's the beauty of our differences. But I hope that there can be a commonality because at one point you chose to do something here. At one point you said, yes, that pathway is an opportunity for me. My question for you is, what are you going to do about it? Now, in order to answer that question, actually, what are you going to do about it? I want to ask you three real questions, okay? I hope that if you have a pen and paper, actually, it's taking the 60 seconds, maybe a few minutes to answer this. Please. And in fact, I'll try to be quiet for a few minutes here. I ask this question all the time, and I'll ask it again. I think we need to keep asking ourselves it. Why did you say yes to Solex in the first place? I'm talking about the deep down why. Don't tell me you want to help people. Don't, this is not for you to share, by the way. This is just like the real why. What did you really hope would happen? I'm going to encourage you. Keep finishing up, writing up. I'm going to get on to question two. What have you not done consistently in pursuing that why, and why not? And this is real honesty hurts, right? Sometimes it hurts because you have to be really frank with yourself and tell yourself the truth. Viktor Frankl said that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. maybe when you ask that, when you answer that question, what have I not done consistently? There's a tendency sometimes to blame it on other things. As there's a lot of thoughts going through your mind. Well, if this didn't happen, if that didn't happen, if this other thing didn't happen, right, then I would have done it. I want you to really own. That's the difference between trying something on and owning it. Something I talk about an awful lot within the corporate environment is this ownership concept, and it's I don't care if you can blame it on somebody else. If you own it, it's yours. You own their mistake. You own that thing that got in the way. You own that accident that happened. You own it. It's yours. Own it because by owning it, you can choose to learn from it. If you didn't own it, if you just tried it on and it happened, then you get the comfortable situation of always letting it be somebody else's thing. And you never took it by the reins. Yet I don't see anybody else's name on that account. And even if it's a business account, who owns that bit? Whose name is on that? You own it, right? In the end, you own it. It's yours all the way through. So, question three: what would change if you decided to show up consistently for 90 days, even if you did it imperfectly? What would really change? Bonus question: what does it mean to show up? What does it mean to you? Because let me tell you this, there's only one person you're showing up for, and it's you. You're the only one. Now, you might be benefiting. There might be a lot of beneficiaries from you showing up, and that might be in your why. But there's only one person that you show up for. Because you can lie to everybody else under the sun, but you cannot lie to yourself. You can tell lies to yourself, but you know exactly what it is. It's a lie. So you know what honesty is. You know what truth is. You know what your commitments are. Even if imperfect, that effort is valuable because it is more than anything, it is the challenging yourself to do difficult things, painful things, not a glutton for punishment pain, but the kind of pain that means, oh, I really don't want to do that because it's uncomfortable, because I don't like it. But you know that it's the thing that leads to accomplishing the why. It's the only thing that gets you there. And you've been avoiding it because it's uncomfortable. We all know this. And I bet you've had ideas, visions, glimpses, images, people, names, things in your mind as we've just answered these three questions, four questions if you did the bonus one, that are telling you that's the pathway. If you don't take it, nobody else is going to take it for you, right? Now, let me shift and let me tell you a reason why it's worth your why to challenge yourself in a consistent way over a period of time, like 90 days. And by the way, 90 days is a true time frame where you can test yourself with consistency. Less than 90 days, it doesn't have a staying power. More than 90 days seems to be a distracting period. There's more things to do. 90 days is about this time frame where you can say, I can do something consistently for 90 days. Why would you do it for 90 days? I talk Solex. One of the things in business, let's talk business real quick. Strategically, in business, if you want to succeed, you have to have competitive advantages, at least one, right? You have to have something that is different than what everybody else has. You have to be first at something. You have to be new at something. You have to be known for something, right? Not only is that at a Solex level, that's at a personal level, right? What is the advantage that you offer the marketplace? What is your unique? Well, we can talk about part of what your unique is, the piggyback on what makes Solex unique. This isn't just another product, right? These aren't just other products all the time. This is bringing health home, empowering families to understand themselves in a way that's different than any tool out there. Now, are there other energetic reading bioresonance tools? Yes, there are, but not like this. They're not the same. They don't have the same breadth. They don't have the same source. And what I would argue would then be to the tune of the same holistic accuracy. Okay? You have a key to a technology that changes how people experience their bodies, their minds, and their relationship with health. But it only works if you turn it. Okay? Just like my friend Jeff turned it for the gentleman in the car, it only works that way. It's the pathway we've opened up, and that is obviously where the difficulty lies. The challenges of getting uncomfortable lie in you have the key, and you're the one that can turn it to help somebody else experience a different life, a different trajectory. All right. So here comes the challenge, right? Timing could not be better, in my opinion. Timing could not be better than right now for this competitive advantage to be alive in the marketplace. People are looking, they're hungry, they're hoping for something different than the status quo. And that goes across the board. I'm not just talking about AO scan technology. I'm talking about the AO Infinity one. I'm talking about the PEMF mat. I'm talking about the hub. I'm talking about all of these tools that are solutions and supports to people's well-being that they want to change to. Meaning they're so worn. We're all so worn of waiting till we hurt to go to a physician to react to the situation. We're tired. We feel like we're on a ping pong table getting hit back and forth with our health, from one event to the next. And we're hoping that the carrying of that ping pong in between the nets, in the sides of the net, is a long period of time where we could just have some peace. Whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's chemical, whatever it might be. We're hoping for a preventative, non-intrusive solution for us and our families. Well, there is way too much on your plate, way too much available to you to solve what is the common challenge that people are hoping to find, and they just don't know where to look. Well, when we don't know where to look, the best thing we can have is a guide, a friend, someone that will just shine a light on the solution we've been hoping for. The ones who win It's not because they move faster than everybody else. It's because they don't stop. Now, you might be like me sometimes in my life, and I might have everything in front of me to have the opportunity to move forward and build what I hope to build so that my life is different. But yet I'm paralyzed or I'm passive, right? I'm overwhelmed or I'm comfortable. If you can't make major swaths of change, let's try micro commitments. This means if you have felt standstill, stuck for too long since you answered your why to join Solex in the first place, start with this. Pick one daily thing that you will do for the next 30 days and do it. Have enough pride in yourself to do it. Have enough confidence in who you are to do it. That might be doing an AO scan every day and sharing with somebody new or sharing it with the world. I don't care. It might be the commitment of, listen, I'm going to pick 30 people and all I'm going to do is re-engage relationships over the next 30 days. Boy, what a time of year to do that, right? And it doesn't have to be with this underlying thread of, oh, I'm going to sell them. No, it's just engaging in something that gets you into a conversation. Because I guarantee you that conversation will lead to, what are you doing these days? What are you involved in? And the pathway opens. It happens to me nearly daily that I'll cross paths with somebody that I know and I haven't seen for a while. And it's, what are you up to? And all I have to do is say, yeah, I'm at Solex. So what's that? Oh, it's a, bioresonance frequency tool. And I cause so much confusion for them that they have to ask me, okay, what's that? And then we're into a conversation. And then an hour and a half later, I get to leave, right? That's typically how these have gone. But make that micro commitment. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not challenging you to change your life dramatically. All I'm saying is pick something. Do it consistently for 30 days. If it leads toward the why of why you joined Solex, you should feel and see a difference, even if it's in your confidence to do something different, right? That becomes the power behind us. That in the next 30 days, you will see something that you can carry and magnify into 90 days. Now, when I was a young boy, my dad did an extension on our home in our family room, made it a little bit bigger. I think it was like 12 feet longer. But part of that was he added a real wood burning fireplace. And I was a young Cub Scout, uh, and I loved that fireplace. I thought it was so cool to be able to burn wood in my home. I think all little boys probably just like to strike matches and burn things, but that was part of my thing. And because I had so much passion for building a fire and trying to get it to light and to burn and the warmth that came from it, my dad gave me the assignment that I was always going to be in charge of building the fire. Now, I'll tell you this. He built this little compartment behind the fireplace that was where we stored the wood, and it was dark. And over time, there were spider webs in there. And I hated that place. I hated to go in and get wood. I always hoped that there might be wood just right by the door so I can open it, grab the wood, and bring it out, right? So I learned, so I would go in and if it was in the wintertime, this time of year, at least here in the States, we would build fires most nights. And I, of course, had the assignment. I learned that you had so much wood and you had to have so much space for the oxygen to flow, and you had to have enough paper or kindling to get it lit so it would light the wood on fire. But what I quickly learned in the first instances was that I couldn't just get the fire going and expect it to go all night. That fire needed some attention. I learned it the hard way, right? Light the fire, it's blazing, thought it was awesome, walk away, go sit down, watch TV, and 20, 30 minutes later, the fire's dying. Nobody's feeling any heat. I learned that you had to go and stoke the fire. You had to continue to feed the fire, even if it meant going into that little cupboard of a room that was dark and had spider webs and get more wood to bring to the fire. Without being able to do that as a young boy, without recognizing that that's what was required, even the difficult parts, I would never, the fire wouldn't ever last very long. But if I was willing to pay attention to the fire, if I was willing to change the position of the wood, if I was willing to add and go into the dark room and do the difficult thing to keep it going, the fire would go as long as I gave it attention, as long as I wanted it to go. And in fact, it would go as big as I wanted it to go based on how much I gave to it. As much as I fed it, the more I fed it, the bigger the fire. The more I paid attention, the longer it would last. It didn't allow me. Now, did I have moments of reprieve? Yes, and we all do, where I could step away from the fire. It wasn't perpetual and wasn't absolute, but it did require consistency. It did require a continued effort to look, to attend to, and to do something about. And that really becomes the difference, right? That becomes the difference of the opportunity in front of us. Um, that as you try to add, at least start with this micro commitment, to rediscover and spend some time with your why that you've written down, that you will make it more repetitive. Revisit your why daily if you can. So you understand more clearly what you should do that day and that your micro commitments become easy and they really become micro. In that effort, we can then learn from Robert Louis Stevenson, who said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. And thus, the harvest to plant seeds, is it? Dirt on the ground, a little tiny seed dropped in the dirt. What makes the seed grow is that water, that feeding, and that weeding, right? It's the consistent effort that makes it become what it can become. We've all heard that Albert Einstein said that everything is energy. The continuity of the continuation of that quote is that match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. So the outcome is in who you are. Back to the journey. Who are you in your journey, right? Sometimes it's tough to look at ourselves in the mirror in that process. I admit, some days I'll look at the mirror and I'm like, you got to try something different, Kai. You got to try a little bit harder. You've been taking it off a little too much. You know what you need to do and you've been afraid to do it, so do it. Have those real conversations. They will change your life. Everything will flow from where our attention goes. So give the attention to your life and to this part of your life that it deserves if you want to achieve the why that you've set out to achieve. With that, I can't again do anything but thank you. I wish you the happiest of holiday seasons. Thank you for spending time with me. Beck, thank you for allowing me to join. I hope that there might have been something that maybe nudged you a little, maybe scratched an itch that you might have. I more than anything with you celebrate so many things that we succeeded in 2025, but I'm so much more optimistic in 2026 that we have nothing in our way that can keep us from accomplishing what we want to accomplish this next year but ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kai. That was just amazing. And it's there are so many massive takeaways in that. And one of the things for me was I really want to keep moving over Christmas, but I feel like so many people take this time off. And it's like, how do I keep my team motivated during a season when everybody wants to just kick back and take time off? And I think one of the most powerful things that we can be doing for this next 30 days is to do something, choose something consistently and do that for 30 days. So that we will definitely work on. And then I think, as you say, like moving into that 90-day kind of momentum coming into January, but keeping that to some extent going over this Christmas season, because if there's one thing I know in business, you can't just stop and start because you don't get momentum that way. And so I really appreciate that. There's a book that I'm reading at the moment called The Happiness Experiment, and it's a really phenomenal book. And I found myself feeling a little bit kind of off in the last couple of days, and I don't know, I didn't know why, I didn't know what that was. But then I realized in this book they were talking about how often do you look back and appreciate your successes, like how far you've actually come and what you actually have achieved in this last 12 months, rather than looking at, oh, I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not where, I'm not this, or I'm not that, or I haven't got this, or I'm not signing people up, or I'm not, rather than that, maybe looking back and going, actually, what have I achieved this year? And actually looking at the successes that you have had for what they truly are. So that's something that I think was a really, good positive as well. So for me this morning, when I read that, I thought, okay, well, if I've been feeling off for the last couple of days, what's been my self-talk around that? And so I wrote a couple of things down, and then I went to ChatGPT, my little friend, and we rewrote my affirmations for my new mind sync, because I'm like, well, if that's, even though I'm listening to mind sync daily, if my mindset is still a little negative at times, what is it that I'm missing in my mind sync that I need to update? And so I did that this morning as well. So there are so many takeaways from today. Thank you so much. I know that everybody would have just taken so much away from it, but for me personally, there was just, I needed that today. You have no idea how much I needed that. So thank you. We know how precious your time is, and we just love and appreciate you and everybody at Solex for creating something so phenomenal for us to be a part of. And so with that, I just have so much gratitude for you and the team, and for leading the way, because I know for me, like, I couldn't think of anyone else I'd prefer to be partnered with than Solex. So thank you for creating something so amazing. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for being here. Have the most beautiful holiday season. Stay safe and Merry Christmas. And we will see you back in January. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.